Yo, hey, welcome to Young Money Markets. Um, you're here with Eric and Nick, and today we got a nice little show today for you. Josh and Ryan are taking a little vacation for Easter. Um, so
Hell yeah.
today, what are we getting into today, Nick?
Well, I kind of want to talk a little bit about um, some of the moves that I'm making around Bitcoin and Luna and MIR. But what do you want to get into, Eric? I know we ran through a number of topics. So which one do you want to start with?
Yeah, let's start off with MIR. What's going on with the Luna and MIR thing?
Yeah, well, first of all, I feel like we haven't done MIR a ton of justice. I mean, we've talked about it a number of different times, but it's I'm gonna share my screen and kind of just show the app. So MIR protocol is an app that's within the Terra ecosystem. So maybe actually if I zoom out one and I just go to Terra, oh whoops, Terra crypto.
Have you guys found any other cool projects on the Terra blockchain coming up and coming?
Yeah, I have, and I'll show you some of this stuff, but let's just kind of take a look at because man, the the more that I look into Terra. Hang on, give me 1 second. I'm just gonna post this in my Discord channel. I'm gonna talk about Mir, Luna, and IoT cryptos.
Anyone out there, you gotta join the Discord if you guys
Hell
like
yeah.
quality crypto information. We're posting
Yep.
all of our projects that we find. Last night I posted Earth 2 and Harvest Finance. Harvest Finance has been around in the game for I think a couple of years now. They just came out with their new coin. It's called iFarm. So the iFarm is similar to the farm token. Hey, what's up, Mr. Knox? What's going
What
on?
up?
Yo,
What
yo.
up?
Yeah, so we're
I'm
out here.
just I'm posting in our Discord channel. Follow us there if you're
Programmable
watching this
money.
after the fact. Yeah. Yeah, Ryan, it was kind of like a last minute thing, but we know that you couldn't make it uh and Josh obviously couldn't make it. He's in Alabama, so but we decided to keep the momentum, man, keep it going strong. Sorry, my camera is a little difficult. I don't know if I'm fuzzy on your guys' end.
Oh
If I
no,
keep very
you
still,
you look
then
good.
it's totally fine. Yeah.
You look good,
Cool.
man.
All
You look
right.
good.
Well, it looks like we've got some folks, so I can kind of get started with what I kind of want to talk about, which is Terra. So Terra, man, where to start with this thing? I honestly, when I first got into Bitcoin, and actually I got into Bitcoin, like I think a lot of us did, through other people. And Josh, who's one of the co-hosts of the podcast, actually was called me up one day and said, "Dude, you got to look into this Bitcoin thing." And that was when Bitcoin was like right around 18,000. Um, and I bought into it after I kind of heard some more about it, and I was listening to him kind of describe how it's a store of value and it's better than gold, and I could understand the bull picture of Bitcoin so well. And so I bought in. But as I've gotten more into kind of crypto and especially DeFi, my passion or like what I'm most interested in isn't necessarily like just investing in like a pure store of value. Like I don't hold any gold in my portfolio, for example. I do own some real estate that my fiance and I rent out I would consider that to be more of like a productive asset as opposed to like gold, for example. But I've never owned gold. I've never felt the desire to own gold. But I've bought into Bitcoin because I
There is
understand
about
kind
where
of
we're at in the
the
episode.
bull thesis around it, and I believe in it. But what really gets me going is envisioning a world where like the whole financial stack is completely peer to peer. And so like that means that banks are no longer necessary and credit cards are no longer necessary because we don't need to have an intermediary help with like settlement and things like that. We can just kind of do everything by ourselves, including lending and borrowing and investing. Like, so anyway, that's sort of where my head has kind of gone to as I've gotten further down this rabbit hole of crypto. And oh, looks like Ryan joined. What's up, man? Dude, I didn't know you were gonna jump in.
Hey fellas, sorry I'm late.
Hey, no, you're totally good. I'm glad to see you, man. I thought
Well,
you weren't gonna make it, but
yeah, I was
What's
gonna
up?
listen in if
hell yeah,
if you're gonna do the monologue thing, or I'm happy to be here and talk
hell
through this,
yeah, dude.
this interesting stuff.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Okay, cool. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
those for just
so
for, those for just getting here. We're just doing a brief overview of Terra, the Terra blockchain.
yeah,
Oh, I'm so glad.
so
This is kind of like high level, right, Nick? Because
this is super high level.
we went
Yeah,
down
this
into like the anchor and we've looked at MIR in previous episodes.
we
Now
kind
we're
of did
kind of
the
going up.
we kind of did it like backwards, I think.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but so yeah, so basically what Terra is trying to do is essentially create a whole ecosystem, a financial structure that doesn't require KYC. It's totally permissionless and it's stable. It's all the transactions that you do are all denominated in a fiat currency, which for if you don't believe in the dollar, maybe you'd say, well, I want to hold something that's a little bit more stable than the dollar. But Luna, so as the dollar becomes more depreciated, Luna kind of takes up, because the basic functionality is you burn, and maybe I can actually just share this video. Can you hear this, guys? Probably not. Let me
Okay, I can
just kind
hear it
of,
on my end, Eric.
let me just show you. Okay. So basically what this is like the Luna token. You need to burn this in order to mint like new stable coins. So in order to participate in all the different things that are on the platform, you need this stable coin in order to do it. So like if you want to go to MIR and you want to buy Apple stock, you need this UST. In order to get the UST, you have to burn Luna. But the thing is, people don't want to let go of their Luna, so it drives the price of Luna up. And the whole system is basically um, based on this Luna coin, which is the way that new stable coins are minted into existence.
Hey Nick,
Yeah.
since we're gonna do this high level, maybe I can just dumb this down even more so for the audience that's new to this. So stablecoin, something that's connected to the U.S. dollar. It's they're going to change the supply so that it stays within a certain percentage away from $1 per token or per
Yes.
coin. And it's basically like if your bank was going to have a dollar specific, if PNC Bank was going to have its own dollar, right? So that you could use their service essentially. And so this is the way for if you want to use the like Nick was saying, if you want to use all the services of this, let's call it bank, this is the dollars that so you could take your US dollars from your bank, and in theory it's going to be almost exactly 1-to-1. You have
Yep.
1,000, you take $1,000 from your bank, you'll get $1,000 UST to use in the Terra bank.
Yes. 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 Exactly. And so one of the beautiful thing is there's one Luna token, but all of these different currencies can be minted. So like the US dollar is one, but like for people who are in who are trying to invest in US assets, and they want, and I'll show you this just briefly. So like if I go to MIR and I want to buy Tesla, but I want my kind of ecosystem to be in if I'm in Thailand, right, the Taiwanese baht. Well, Terra also has a stable coin. So there's UST, which is for the dollar, but there's an equivalent stable coin for the Taiwanese baht. And you need Luna to create these stable coins, basically. So the more transactions, the more kind of network activity that's happening on Luna, the more you need to burn the Luna in order to mint the new stable coins that you need to do all these transactions.
So the more popular the UST gets, which means so more people are taking let's just call US dollars for now, just to make it really simple. So let's say a bunch of people are taking their money from PNC Bank, they're taking it over here and they're changing it to UST. That means there's a lot of UST they're going to be getting minted, and every time you get a UST minted, a Luna, which is a different coin, goes away or burns, which means it's going to drive up the value of Luna as UST is used more. That's crazy.
Exactly.
I didn't realize that.
And dude, the craziest thing is, man, like this, oh my God, dude, I've been going so deep down the rabbit hole here. Like, man, I'm telling you, dude, I've literally scoured the internet, just consuming every piece of information, like every single YouTube video I can find that's in English, I've listened to. Every single like blog post I've read, every single like, because there's just not that much out here still. Like this project is still very kind of low key. I think Terra or Luna is like 30th on the coin market cap or something. It's $7 billion market cap. That's not fully diluted. That's just the current circulating supply market cap. But what really blew my mind as I kind of like got further down the rabbit hole is there's this thing called Chai payments. And dude, it's literally this is like I guess the interface of this. It's obviously it's in it's South Korean, but SoftBank Ventures has invested in this, which is like a famous VC firm. This product is processing millions of dollars worth of transactions within South Korea, and it's running on Terra. It's running on the Luna blockchain. It's using stablecoin. So as I wonder if it mentions it in here.
2.5 million users. Is that what that says? Launched in June 2019. Now has 2.5 million users.
Yeah. So what's and so let's see if it mentions it in here. Yeah, it doesn't mention it in this specific article, but as this becomes more used, right, in areas, in other places in Southeast Asia and Asia in general, you need Luna in order to create the stablecoin that this is running on. And that's also pushing up the value of Luna. So you've got this Chai app, but then you also, and we've talked a little bit about MIR. I want to talk about that again because I don't think we've done it justice. And you've also got Anchor, which offers 20% semi-fixed, pseudo-fixed. We can talk about that too. Interest rate, and all of this activity, you need Luna to burn in order to create the stable coin that powers the whole network. So it's like, dude, this is like just blows my mind because within the ecosystem, so like that's kind of the blocking and tackling, if you will. Like that's kind of like the basic functionality of Luna. Within the ecosystem, like you can like choose a stable coin. Like for Americans like us, like we're gonna choose the dollar, right? You can basically replace everything that you do financially, like your bank, your Robinhood account, your whatever your lender is. Like you can replace all these different things and have it all just in one place that literally is permissionless. Like you don't have to ask permission to do anything, and it's just instant. Like I can just move things around very quickly, with some exceptions. Like, for example, if I'm an anchor, and it's less about it being with anchor, what I'm about to show is not, it's less about it being like you need to require permission. It's this bond thing. We've looked at this before.
Yeah.
When you borrow with Luna, it turns into B Luna, and then it takes 21 days to pull your B Luna back into Luna. The reason they do that is because they want to kind of like smooth out volatility, but that's just programmed into the code. It's not like a person that's sort of like, you can tell they're like holding on. Like, you ever try to like move a large sum of money from a centralized financial institution? They don't want to let go of your money, and you can tell like there's something there they're kind of tugging on it. Here, I think it's less about that and more about protecting the sort of the holders, right? By kind of dampening price volatility. Like, if price spikes a ton, they don't want people to just be like liquidating, and if price tanks, they don't want people just liquidating. So, I mean, that's, you sort of just have to kind of take that as it is. But my point is, like, once you're inside this ecosystem, and I'll go back to Terra, all of the things that you need to do financially, including like all of your long-term investing, can just be done just right within the ecosystem. Oh, okay. So we've got some questions here. So we've got thoughts on Engine. How many total Luna tokens are there if they can just keep creating Luna tokens? So there's a cap on Luna tokens, Zach. Luna coin market cap. And I'll show you. All right. So yeah, so the total supply is 958 million. The circulating supply is about 1/3 of that, 387 million. So if they can just keep creating Luna, who does the price of Luna go up as coins burn? Zach, you've thrown in. Okay. Did the creator of Terra come out with a statement yet regards to Terra crashing last week? What are your thoughts on that situation? I don't know much about that situation, Zach. I know that Josh called that out, and I know that that's definitely something that was concerning to the community. But I personally am not super concerned about it.
I think it's important. I think it's important, and it's the thing that I keep bringing up, because everything that you and Josh talk about, I think if I was coming onto our podcast for the first time, I'd be like, these guys have to be sponsored by Terra or something, because we talk about it a lot because it's so cool, man. And it's like everything about it is exactly what we're looking for, as far as like a decentralized space to do everything that you've already brought up. And so, like, if those things are true, then the things that we have to look at are there scalability issues? Is there have they been fully audited and vetted? What Josh had said about the crash or whatever you want to call it last week was,
yeah, yep.
It really struggled to keep up with demand. And so, like, it checks all of these boxes, and it's kind of like Ethereum. I'm not saying it's kind of like Ethereum, but when you think about Ethereum, people always say, like, yeah, they want to do all of these things, but then something always breaks. To me, Terra feels, just because, like, I've only seen what you guys are educating me on, and I've played around with it a little bit, but it seems so user-friendly. It seems so easy. It seems so live and like real. And I'm constantly like, Zach, like, what's wrong with this thing? Like, why can't we today?
Dude, it's just early days.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is. It's just early days. And like, you're totally right. It's not risk-free. It's not. I own a fuckload of MIR token, and I'm about to own a fuckload of Terra, excuse my language. But dude,
of Terra? Of Terra? You mean of Luna?
Of Luna. Yeah,
okay.
Sorry, of Luna. It's just early days. When you look at the founder, and I've done a lot of research around the founder as well, Guy is a computer science major grad from Stanford. He studied Paula Graham. He studied Y Combinator. I've watched every interview that's available with this guy. The Bank of Thailand reached out to him on Twitter and basically like threatened him and said that like the use of this stable coin was like threatening the the Thai
Yeah.
central bank. And
Yep.
he basically gave him the middle finger. Like this guy is, dude, he's got this kind of edge to him that I think you kind of need because what he's talking about, what he's trying to do here is actually kind of scary if you think about it in terms of like
Yeah.
what it could disrupt. Um, think about every well, banks will still be needed, at least for now. They'll still be needed for like large lending. Like you can't like go and like get like a mortgage loan from Anchor, right? But for personal loans and like smaller size loans, which still, I mean, that's to be fair, that's probably a large portion of loans that these banks are giving out to people. Those are in direct line of fire to be disrupted by this type of technology. And yeah, I think you kind of need that sort of edge to you if you're going to go about doing this. And man, he's made the right stuff. Like he's just Mike Novogratz, who um, if you guys know him, he's an old school. He's an old school guy.
So just to touch on that though, so if you think mortgages are coming to the blockchain, do you think they're gonna have like a credit system, like credit score system on the blockchain?
Yes, I do think that they'll have a credit score on the blockchain. I don't know how they're going to do it without being KYC, but
But but that's
yeah,
that's honestly, before we get into this next topic, Nick, that's
yeah,
honestly something we've talked about since day one, though, that
yeah.
I think we're all concerned about is centralized versus decentralized. And he can kind of give the middle finger to Thailand if it's a decentralized platform, and he says, sorry, it's already out, it's open source, or it's out for the world's use, they can use it however they want. Like that's the beauty of Bitcoin, right? So like how do we get like what Bitcoin is, and how do we get like what Terra is trying to build as far as like the financial tools? How do we kind of like combine those different types of things? Because I'm concerned, like, if it isn't really decentralized, and you can give the middle finger to Thailand all you want until you can't any longer. And if it isn't decentralized, and if it's a centralized, now us in the United States, we're relying on Asian governments, that have had histories of not handling these types of things well. We're relying on them to not do the wrong thing with, potentially where we have our funds, the
So
organization has our
what
funds.
you're talking about is like, is Luna truly decentralized? Is it
Right.
truly outside of the control of even the founder, right? Do
Right.
Kwon, is he able to manipulate things or do different things? Um, Man, from everything that I can tell, and I'm not a developer, like at some point you reach your limit of knowledge
Yeah.
because you can't look at the code itself. And I think like all of us or most of us actually run into that
Yeah.
problem. But as far as I can tell, it's decentralized.
I
I've
feel the
heard
owner can still have like an impact though, because he could always just like hit up his like web service provider and be like, all right, let's take the Anchor program down today, and then like
I
you
don't
know
think he can though, because I think it's hosted in a decentralized way. Um,
hmm.
I don't think that's centrally hosted on like a web service that he's like controlling or anything like that.
But there's
No.
gotta be some kind of way where he can like pause it or freeze it or something,
I
like
don't think that he can. I really
So
don't, because I've watched him in an interview and he got asked directly. It was actually about MIR. So MIR, if and we've kind of skated around it, but MIR allows you to invest in these mirrored assets, which basically are U.S. equities like Alphabet, Microsoft, etc. And he got asked directly in an interview, okay, well, what happens if the SEC comes knocking at your door and says, hey, you've got to close down shop because these are securities that you're trading without SEC oversight and it's not within, compliance, right? His response was, I don't control it. We don't even receive any money from it. Like there's no revenue that's coming. There are no fees that are being created and sent off to like Doe or his team. They didn't ever take any of it at the beginning, the onset of the protocol. They don't have any control over it, basically. And so his whole thing was, it's essentially free speech. So the SEC can't really do anything because it's code. And now that it's like live on the blockchain, it's literally just free speech and they can't shut it down. That's what Doe said. Now, look, there's always the risk that he either didn't tell the whole truth or that something slipped by, and there's risk. I'm not saying there's not. What I'm saying is, like, when I think about the possibility, the potential, it's exactly what I want. It's exactly what I want. And it's not a promise of something that's going to work in the future. I can use it right now and it works like literally today. I just feel like, dude, Ryan, a lot of people said the same thing about Bitcoin before it got to mass adoption, right? People said like, how do you know it's not hackable? Like you're posting all of this money, you're putting all your money in this like cryptocurrency thing. Like it's like cyber dust. Like it's nothing, right? Or it's like, it's hackable. Like you don't know. And like, we can all sit here and say like, oh, we'd have the conviction to like fend those people off back then. But, I don't know, like maybe we would, maybe we wouldn't. If you look at Bitcoin now, it's $1 trillion asset. $1 trillion asset. Terra is a $7 billion asset. So it's not even like, it's just completely not even in the same like ballpark in terms of size.
Yep. And I'm obviously playing devil's advocate here. Well, I'm going to keep letting Nick go through because this is all really good stuff. If we went through and picked apart literally anything available to the world other than Bitcoin, we're going to be able to say these same things, because Bitcoin's the only thing where you don't have a CEO, you don't have an organization, you don't even have a website. Like I'm looking at Terra's domain registration right now, and it has some type of registry called Donuts Inc. Is like their website register, but I don't have any clue who that is. I don't have any clue where that, like, a website has to Eric's point, a website has to, like, the files have to exist on some server. The thing that Bitcoin did was it said, hey, if you want to put this software on your computer, it'll link through the World Wide Web and nobody can take it down. So I'm with you, man. But if we pick apart everything the way we are Terra right now, only Bitcoin will be left. And so if we're going to innovate in this space, if we're going to do the things that we want to do, the things that we're talking about here, you're going to have to have leaders like Terra that are going to pave the way. And I think what Nick is saying is there's risk here. There's also a lot of gain here. There's also a lot of interesting things to learn from here, to see into the future. And so, but just for the sake of our audience, I think they know this isn't financial advice, and they also know that there's just we could pick everything apart.
Man, I'm so glad that you just said all that, because it's such a perfect way to kind of like set the stage for everything that we're talking about here. And I think the audience, you guys can probably tell that I have like lost my mind a little bit in this whole rabbit hole, but
you've done a great job with the research, man. I've really enjoyed listening to you talk about this.
Well, I appreciate that, and sometimes I feel like I'm fumbling over myself, because I'm like, I gotta share what I'm learning about here, because it's so much, and there's so much potential. This is like, so this is one of the next projects that Terra is going to be working on, and it's kind of like hush hush still, but it's called Alice, and it'll be a mobile app. So like one of the things that I think is missing with Terra in general, Luna in general, is it's still very desktop. You got to have kind of like a desktop interface and all that stuff. Well, in the future, I mean, picture this. It's just like a slick single place you can go. It's just a mobile app. It's all decentralized. Like, uh, I don't know, man. I can just see the growth kind of spiraling outward.
I was even talking to my wife about this today, Nick, because there's a lot of like Bitcoin maxis that are thinking about the 2021 run that's happening, and like, what do we do? Because none of us actually want to sell, but all of us kind of want to like enjoy the fruits of our labor of like years of holding Bitcoin. And so my wife was asking me about it today, and I was telling her about like different like alternatives to where you could take your Bitcoin and use it as collateral, and we could fund some of our living or other purchases with that. And I think like Terra, if we can find a way to merge these two worlds, I think Terra might be a really interesting place to try to make stuff like that happen.
Totally. We got a couple comments in here. I've looked at Anchor and I'm borrowing a small amount, but the more time I spend in the ecosystem, I feel like I should just be aping everything into LP for the MIR rewards. Let me show you something, guys. And I'm okay. It's personal. I'm personally okay with just sharing with you guys what I've done here. But I'm currently staking about 6,500 MIR in MIR protocol, which is like equivalent to $52,000 or something like that. Because I believe in this protocol so much, and I think it affords people who don't have access to U.S. equities in other parts of the world and a chance to kind of participate. I believe in that so much. They're coming out with a MIR version 2 very shortly here, which is going to give kind of like a set of much needed improvements to the protocol. So I completely understand the sort of the desire to go and kind of like you said, like ape in. I would hope that you kind of, once you've really consumed everything, you're not aping at that point. It's really actually an investment. Because you have to understand, like, because we're in early days, there is going to be volatility. Like, we are going to see, volatility 50% downward, hopefully multiple 100% upward. But I would fully anticipate there to be kind of like volatility on the downside, at least in the short term. So, and I see that you posted something else. Giving people access to those assets who normally wouldn't have it seems like a home run versus just a savings account.
Nick, on that, is there also like what does day trading look like on MIR?
Okay, so day trading on MIR
fees?
is unbelievable. Okay, picture like the fees will be like $1. All right, for just all of your transactions will cost $1. It'll go to the network. You won't get you won't be stopped. Like if you go to Robinhood and you day trade, after you've done like 5 day trades, they'll actually let you know that they're marking you as a pattern. Have you ever received this, Ryan?
Yeah, no, I got it, Ryan.
I have. They'll list you as a pattern day trader, okay, and then they'll prevent you. I think like instant deposits get shut off. Like you have to request for them to be turned back on. Then there's like a couple other penalties, like you can't take more margin out. Like there's like a few different penalties that they'll put on you because it's just like it's the whole traditional finance thing, right?
Well, that's
MIR,
exactly what I was trying to get to, and that's, remember,
yeah.
we talked with our guest last week that came on Tedora, and like what Straight Jacket on Twitch was saying, giving people access to those assets who normally wouldn't have it seems like a home run. But also, if like, because of the SEC requirements, the SEC says you have to have at least $25,000 in the account to day trade. Plus, on
Yeah.
top of that, you have to say that you have years of trading experience in order to
Right.
like check all the
Which
boxes.
is
So yeah, 25
garbage.
grand in years. You could have people in all over the world that all they have is access to YouTube. All they have is YouTube and internet access, basic computer access. And whereas they could have been the smartest traders in the world, they could have had the best trading strategy in the world, and they wouldn't have had access. Number one, they won't have access to US securities probably regardless. But let's say they did have access. If you don't have a certain amount of money, you can't take part in the really aggressive trading that makes a lot of people a lot of money. And what it should be about is it should be about how smart you are, how capable
Yes.
you are, and not how much money. And granted, SEC is saying, well, if you know how to do these things, you probably have this much money. Well, I don't know that that's always the case. And this is something that I think MIR can give people access to. If you're smart, if you can watch YouTube videos, if you can learn, you can do anything now. The world is your oyster from financial
100%.
aspect.
Yeah. Well, it's exactly, man, and it's totally like Tedora last week, or I think it was last week, right?
Yeah.
She gets on. She tells us that there is a financial advisor who basically said, "Oh, sorry, you don't have enough. The commissions that we'd be earning from working with you just isn't like worthwhile for us. Like you'll have to like figure this all out on your own." And it's just all part of the whole traditional kind of finance system that is it's just created to harvest it basically. And this is regurgitated, it's not original thought, but I think it's just such a eloquent way of putting this. The traditional financial system is basically it's a series of toll booths. It's just a series of toll booths. Every stop you've got to pay the toll. And when you think of it like that, and you think about like, well, what if we just had the same road, but that got us from point A to point B, but we just got rid of all the toll booths? It's such like a no-brainer. And that's kind of like what MIR is striving for. Terra is striving for, building like this whole kind of encompassing financial infrastructure. And one of the things I really like about it is when you compare it to Binance, for example. Binance is a fucking cesspool of just intellectual, like, it's just a wasteland. There's nothing. I got a message today from somebody. I was talking to somebody in one of these Discord channels about well, he said, well, okay, what's the difference between MIR and this like Blizzard thing that's on Binance? It was called Blizzard Finance. I'll show you guys what this looks like. Let's see here.
Hey, while you're looking that up, Nick, is what's going on in Binance? Is it because they're making it open source so anybody can basically do anything they want on the chain?
I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is. But
So
yeah,
it's just
look
a
at
bunch of
this.
people trying to kind of get some cash grab, and they're saying, "Hey, kind of free for all. I'm going to put it out here. You guys figure out if you want to give me your money or not."
Dude, it's exactly, and I got swindled into this. I'll pull up 3 of them just to show you guys just how ridiculous this is.
So some of that, but let's go back to the decentralized versus centralized. This is part of the problem of having a decentralized chain like this, where anybody could post anything, kind of like on Ethereum. When you have a centralized, where this guy Doe is kind of the strategic thought leader, you get all of these benefits of UI, UX. The model makes sense. It fits together well. But you eventually, if he doesn't give up control, and he doesn't eventually say, okay, now it's decentralized, and have a plan like what others have done in the past, like Bitcoin, for example, then that's
here's the thing, Ryan. I
That's the
think
secret.
he's controlling what enters into the ecosystem. Once it's in, he loses control over what's in the ecosystem.
That's
But
ideal.
he he curates what's in the ecosystem. So let me show you guys this, all right? Take a look. So just take like a mental, let's look at the side here. We got farms, caves, Blizzard, which is obviously like just connected to this Blizzard money. Go over here. Farms, pools, oceans, lottery. Okay, so let's just flip between them. Anything look familiar? Okay, let me just show you guys this, all right? When this project, I'm gonna use heavy air quotes here, and anybody who's listening to this who's like in who's in Blizzard finance needs to hear this, okay? When this project first came out, Salt Swap, okay, the Salt token was trading for $400, okay? Now, in order to get in, so what they do is they show you this APR, right? So you look at this APR, you go, holy shit, 400. At the time, this is like 10,000% APR. 10,000% APR, what do I need to do to get in, right? Okay, well, here's what you need. You need Salt. Actually, so let's look at this one. So BNB, this is like the big, this is the behemoth. This is the governance token for the Binance Smart Chain. But then you need Salt. So if you want to get into this pool in order to earn this heavy APR, you need to buy Salt. So you sell Bitcoin, you sell whatever to buy Salt, and then BNB, and you take half of it and you put it together, make the LP, right, the liquidity pool, and then you go in here, you unlock your wallet, you stake it, and then you're harvesting these rewards, and you feel like, wow, this is great. I'm earning like such high APR every second. Well, here's the malicious thing that's happening on the back end of these protocols, and the same shit is happening in Blizzard money. I guarantee it. They are pumping vast quantities of Salt into this. That's how they're fueling the APRs. The APR isn't coming from anything other than huge amounts of inflation that are being dumped into the protocol, and that they're making it look like the APR is super high, but what they're not showing you is the second that new money kind of like starts to teeter or wave in terms of coming in, because the supply is skyrocketing so much and the demand starts to stall, the price of the shit falls through the floor. So this went from $400 to 34 cents. And that was like last month. That was like a month ago. So what would have happened, right? What would have happened if that would have happened to you? Well, you would have lost a ton of money. If you would have just left your stuff, your money in here, you would have lost a ton of money. Even accounting for, if some of you guys are listening to this and you're thinking like, well, impermanent gain, like the opposite of impermanent loss, it's not that bad, dude. You would have been destroyed. This would have decimated you if you would have been in this. Same thing with Blizzard money.
Oh yeah.
Take a look at this. This is Brisket Swap. Same shit here. Farms, dude. 3,000% APR, the BSK token. Like, oh, look at this. The Brisket token doesn't even have a price anymore. Is it like below 3 decimal places of value in terms of value? I don't know. There was one other one I want to take a look at. Ramen Swap.
Terra's design is just so clean too.
I know, man.
I mean, it's.
Yeah, this was $17 a month ago, and now it's $1. So anyway, point being, all of these like Binance things are, and the thing is, man, that's like most of the shit that's happening on Binance is those clones. Meanwhile, you go over here, you're like, what?
This is nuts to me though. If there's people that are listening that are like me and not 100% sold on Terra Network, but just really intrigued by what you and Josh have shared, like just the fact that it's currently being used in South Korea by a couple million people successfully,
yes,
like in everyday transactions, like that might be one of the largest use cases for any crypto platform, period. And you don't hear about it. Like I go through Twitter quite often and I look at what people are talking about. You don't hear people talking about Luna. You don't hear I never even heard of the Terra network, I don't think, I had Luna on my list that I analyzed, but because you could only buy it on KuCoin at the time, I never even looked at it. And it's insane how under the radar it is. I would love
So
to.
check this out. So check
Yeah.
this out. By shortening settlement times from days to about 6 seconds, Terraform's payment rails running on top of a digital ledger and a related wallet have become a favorite. More than 2.2 million total users executing nearly 90,000 daily transactions. Consumers often don't even know that it's happening on top of a blockchain, or so-called stable coins were involved during purchases at local convenience stores or online stores. Terra is among the first crypto projects to gain traction outside of speculation. Many cryptocurrency projects that have received funding in recent years never even deployed products. What's great about Terra is they're outside one of the first sandbox experience getting outside the sand. This is like Novogratz. And I was just listening to an interview with him talking about this and talking about how this led to this $25 million investment from his firm. Dude, it's happening. It's literally live. Like, people are using this. There's 2.2 million users, and nobody's talking about this.
Are they Singapore based, or because you were mentioning Thailand?
No,
earlier.
South Korea. South Korea.
Why does it say Singapore based Terraform Labs?
Well, Terraform Labs may be Singapore based, but Do is South Korean. Do is the founder.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
we got a question from the chat. Ashtrays wants us to take a
Take a look at Nerve.
Nerve.
I see you, man. I saw that. Yeah, let me post it in over here.
We had somebody ask about ENJ earlier too, and
we should circle back to that. Yeah, we should go back. Okay, I'm almost done with my rant here, unless you guys want to keep talking about Terra. And I've actually got a huge move that I'm making that is it's going to upset people. I just know it. It's going to upset people. And you might be able to guess what the move is, but I'm going to wait until it's actually done, and then I'll share it live on our next podcast. But I've got a huge move that's kind of coming related to Terra a little bit later. But okay, so this Nerve thing, let's connect the wallet here.
Wait, are you going to share your move tonight or later this week? Okay.
Later this week, yeah.
Okay.
So I bought a new coin today. It was, I only put like $50 in it, but it's called Safe Moon. I don't know if you guys heard about this one.
No.
Safe Moon. It was crazy. Like for $50, I got like 300 million of them or something like that.
I mean, just to cover off on this Nerve thing, I don't know what this is. It's very sparse, like very sparse. Like, this is all blank space. I don't quite, and there's not really a home button. I don't really understand what this is for. I'll be completely honest. It says Nerve is a DEX for stable coin on the Binance Smart Chain swap, and it looks more legit. It looks more legit than these other ones. Basically, it's a lossless swap for stablecoin. Yeah, man, I don't know. Like, if that's like some technical thing, and like even like big projects like 1inch and things are kind of lost on me. I know that those are big projects, but for me, it's like those technical projects, I just can't fully wrap my head around. So I can't really offer too much on that.
Well, 1inch is like a Uniswap clone type of thing.
Sorry, Eric, what did you say?
I was saying just 1inch is like, I thought 1inch was like a Uniswap clone.
Yeah, it's like a Uniswap, but Nick, I think the point is, you're not as much of a trader. You're a little bit more of an investor. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't really get the point of swapping stables, to be honest. So I'm with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah, so. I have some experience with 1inch. We probably don't need to get into it tonight.
So, like, what's the difference between what 1inch, like, it was faster, better, and some technical? It was a very technical improvement over the alternative, right? That's kind of what the Uniswap, right? Uniswap.
Yeah.
Like lower gas fees, essentially. Like, they're beating all people on gas fees.
I stopped trading on it because the gas fees were crazy. So.
Oh, really?
I know there are some people some people that say, hey, I'm gonna trade on a decentralized and I'm gonna pay the fees. I would probably do that if I wasn't trading as often as I do. I think I could afford to pay. I could afford to pay 1%, 1.5%. Like that's what you're going to pay on 1 inch. You're going to pay a 1% fee.
That
You're
seems like a
probably,
lot.
it is a lot. Think about
Yeah.
at Binance, you're at 0.1%. So if you're trading a lot, it's thousands and thousands of dollars of extra fees over the course of maybe a month. So I can't afford to trade on 1 inch or Uniswap. There's another exchange that I am not going to promote here because I signed up to get on their list 6 months ago, and I still haven't been let on. And it's supposedly going to be an exchange, basically an all-in-one exchange where they bring liquidity in from all the exchanges. But so there's some cool stuff happening in that space. We'll save it for another pod. But man, that was really cool, Nick, to go through.
Well, I mean, I appreciate. Hopefully, it wasn't too. Hopefully, it wasn't too heady. Because I'm actually not that technical. I'm not technical, and it takes me 2 times the effort to learn 1/2 the shit that's going on in these spaces because I'm not technical. But I can feel that there's something really cool happening, so that's why I kind of like dive super deep. But I miss out on some of the opportunities because I'm not technical. But
I know we're winding down here, but one of the notes that I made, I didn't want to interrupt you, was could you give like 30 seconds on explain a liquidity pool, because they called it LP. Liquidity pool is really the basis behind all these numbers that you're seeing. So if you're just brand new, I invite new people to the pod, and sometimes when we talk about this stuff, it goes over their head. And so the reason why these funds are able to get the return that Nick has been showing is because of the liquidity pool. And so, Nick, can you just touch on that a little bit, what that thing is and why it's beneficial and how it's used?
So in order to conduct transactions, like regardless of what transaction you're talking about, on MIR, if that's like buying Tesla or Apple or anything, or if on Uniswap you want to buy anything, if you want to do any sort of, if there's any marketplace, you need liquidity in order to facilitate smooth transactions. So like if you have like a block order that's put in, or a block sell order that gets put in, without liquidity, you will absolutely destroy the market because there's no kind of oil in the machine. The liquidity basically steps in and facilitates kind of a smoothing effect as the market is moving up and down. Kind of steps in and just kind of helps fill orders in a more smooth fashion. Without enough liquidity, big orders will severely impact the market, like with massive upward moves and massive downward moves. So that's why it's really important that you have liquidity.
Essentially, like a large market order, either a buy or sell order, is going to wipe out an order book.
It'll either wipe out the order book on the downside, or it will literally it will push the price up so high so fast. It's not good. It's not healthy for the market in either direction. In the traditional world, this is where like a Citadel will come in, and they'll actually provide liquidity to make orders just a little bit more seamless. Not a little bit, way more seamless, so that you can fill orders at any time of the day without necessarily having to have somebody on the opposite side of the trade with that exact sell order at that exact moment in time you want to buy something. That's where liquidity steps in, and they facilitate that. Citadel gets compensated for that with a small percentage, but in this new decentralized world, you're able to actually provide liquidity. And so the protocols themselves will actually provide reward to people who are providing liquidity because it's needed to facilitate all the transactions on these different protocols. So part of like the inflation rate that you see with all these coins is going to the liquidity providers because they need to incentivize people to provide liquidity on their platform in order to make all the transactions smooth. That's kind of why you see the APY numbers that you do. It's because at the very beginning of these protocols, they need to get people to provide liquidity so that people have a good customer experience. So you have a good user experience, so that people can come in and actually enjoy using the platform. So they pay all the people in order to make that happen. As far as like what is providing liquidity, so it becomes, I can't explain it at like the most technical level, but what you do is you take 50% of your funds in one pair, one side of the pair, 50% of your funds in another side. And what I mean by sides, like you've got like a stable coin, and then you've got like M Tesla, right? I'll just use like the MIR liquidity pool. You've got the stable coin and you've got Tesla. Whenever anybody is transacting between the UST and Tesla, your liquidity is there to help facilitate those transactions. It's smoothing those transactions out. But you experience something called impermanent loss if one side of the trade goes up in value a lot. Basically, the pool, which starts off as 50% of one asset and 50% of another, it tries to remain that balance all through it. Like regardless of what happens with the price of the asset, it tries to keep a 50% balance of the two. It's based on a static value. So like if Tesla goes up a lot in value, the protocol will actually sell some of your Tesla to rebalance the pool and bring it back up to like that 50% ratio. And then the whole while it's going to be, your money is essentially facilitating all the transactions that are happening within that pair. So yeah, so that's what the liquidity pool is and why you see these high PY numbers, because these are all new projects and they want people to have good user experience. So that's why they're paying people a lot of money to actually provide the liquidity for big whales and large institutional investors to come in and actually deploy capital in a smooth, just fluid way. And so anyway, yeah, that's basically what it is.
Cool.
Yeah, you
Well, I
you
think
got it
we're
there pretty much in a nutshell. We got a stablecoin staking is presumably much safer. It is interesting that on Nerve, at least I get anti-pathy towards BSC though. Okay. So, yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a quick announcement really quick. We're changing up our Sunday times. Instead of 6 p.m. Pacific, we're gonna change to 3 p.m. Pacific, and that's gonna be what 4 p.m. Is that 4 p.m. Central Time?
5 p.m. Central
Fi-
Time, 6 p.m. Eastern,
Okay, yeah. So those are gonna be
4
our new
p.m. Mountain.
times for Sundays, guys. So we're gonna be changing up the schedule here. All right, guys,
Derek, you want to
what's
tell
up?
us really quick? You want to tell us really quick what coin you're buying or what coin you just
Oh
bought?
yeah, so the new coin, I just put like quick 50 bucks into Safe Moon. It's this coin. I have like it's crazy. I bought like 270 million of them, but it's crazy. Like
What the hell,
yeah, it's
dude?
slowly
Ryan, does that
growing.
remind you of your Masternode days, dude?
Yeah, I'm looking
What
at it
was
right now.
what was that one again?
So it's
Rapids.
called
Actually,
Safe.
it
Rapid.
doubled in value this week.
Did it?
So yeah,
Dang,
So
my
this
dang.
Safe
my,
Moon
my
one,
yacht's gonna be
it's
called
been
Rapids.
it's been slowly like I since I bought it, I got like another 50,000 coins. So like I don't know, it's just slowly growing and stuff over here. So
Dang, man.
it's
All
pretty
right. Well,
sweet.
when you guys are rich AF, you gotta hit your boy up.
No, the coin of the day is Tron. I have about 14,000 Tron, and it blew up. It went from like 6 cents to like 14 cents now, so
Damn.
it was pretty killer. So this is
Welcome
Nice.
kind of
to
like
TRX.
this is why I'm so bullish on Chinese crypto right now. So I bought a bunch of Neo. You can see BNB too is going crazy right now. All the Chinese cryptos, I expect them to start going through the roof in the next week or two.
Isn't ENJ Chinese?
Yep.
Dude,
Yeah,
is Mir Protocol gonna blow up? Is it gonna go to the moon? Am I gonna catch a fucking ride to the moon?
Crypto's gonna. I feel like as soon as the Coinbase gets the IPO money, they're just gonna buy hella crypto with all that IPO money, and then it's just gonna it's gonna shoot the market up. I feel like to the next
Dude,
level.
ENJ is almost at its all-time high right now, which is pretty insane.
What did you say? Or ashtrays? You said Coinbase building their own liquidity. Dude, I didn't think of that. Yeah, dude. So Ryan, you're calling alt season here soon, right? Or no?
Well, you guys know me. I was thinking that we are going to be going into a Bitcoin run here in April, in May, and I sold most of my alts. I ended up not really missing out on anything. I actually bought back in lower than where I sold, so it ended up working out for me. But I saw the market starting going back up. You always know when Doge and Ethereum starts to rock and roll. You always know the alts are gonna follow. So yeah, I got back in. I'm trying to ride this. You know, I'm keeping a really close eye on Bitcoin, because I'll just tell you my experience. I have PTSD from this. Of one day Bitcoin starts to run and everyone moves their all profits into Bitcoin, and your alts will drop 20% in one day versus Bitcoin. And so I'm trying to keep an eye on that, but ride it while you can.
Yeah,
For
for
sure.
me, I'm like I gotta figure out the longer term, and I gotta just actually. It'll be interesting. I'll have to be held accountable because it's scary, man. It's scary to have them, be heavily invested in some of these smaller projects that definitely do have risk, but also a ton of upside potential. I'm gonna watch everything go up with my port, stay stable all month while I feel you, hoping to get some buying opportunities on an option week at the end of the month. Yeah,
I wanted
I
to
don't know,
hit you.
man.
Maybe we can do this on Tuesday, but I was reading this thread on Twitter of a guy that lost $8 billion in 10 days. It's fascinating, man. Can you guys even imagine that? Like,
Is that the
oh,
guy? That's not what's the guy who had like so much leverage out and got margin
yeah,
called?
he
It
was
was it
over
that guy?
he was over
Was it that?
over margined. Yeah. Do you guys
It
remember?
was him.
You guys remember a couple weeks back when I was like, "Hey, one of my stocks that I'm watching is Viacom CBS."
I do remember that. I do.
That,
Yeah,
that's what he got
they were
margin
one of
called
them.
on. That's what he got
Yeah.
margin called on. Was
Dang, dude.
was on Viacom. Well,
But
a
you didn't
couple
own it.
of them,
You
but
didn't own that though, did you? Or do you?
I get in and out every 12 hours. So
Even on the stock side, you're saying?
yeah,
On the stock side, yeah.
yeah. On the stock side, I get in and out. So,
He leveraged
but
up to 110 bill, dude.
yeah,
What is this, a
he was
video
he was
game? Like, what the
110.
hell?
He was
What
he
the
was
hell?
leveraged 110 billion, and he had like 10 or 20 billion or something like that in in reserves. And yeah, so
All right. Well, do we want to? We're getting to the end here.
yeah, I
We
got
want to kind of
to.
want to end it.
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Yeah.
we're,
Well,
we're
we
shutting it
appreciate you
down.
guys. We're gonna be back on Tuesday. Like Eric said, we're gonna be doing Sundays at 6 Eastern. Tuesday and Thursday will still be on at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. So we would love to see you guys Tuesday as well.
6 p.m. I think you said a.m. Ryan, or was it?
Sorry
Maybe
about
I'm
that.
hallucinating.
Yep.
Yeah.
6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday.
All right, guys. Awesome. Thanks. Good show, guys. Young Money
Thanks,
Market
guys.
out.
All right.